Hello. This is Antje from Byte Shuffle. Thank you for always watching our videos. This time, I put together a guide on navigating the UB Tempo matchup when playing Doomsday, including sideboarding strategies. There's also a link to the pile breakdown video in the description, so feel free to check it out. Here is the deck list we will be using this time. I'll keep this hand. I can use Thoughtseize to disrupt their early game, then use Ponder to dig for combo pieces and potentially go off early. I'll scout ahead with discard. I took out Brainstorm. My opponent cast Ponder and chose not to shuffle before drawing. I'm digging for Doomsday. I stacked the top as Thassa's Oracle Ponder fetch land, then drew accordingly. My opponent cast Ponder and chose to shuffle. Surveil's effect leaves it on top of the library. I'm digging for Doomsday. Couldn't find what I needed, so I'll shuffle. I'm digging for Doomsday. I stacked the top as Thassa's Oracle Tamio, Inquisitive Student. Here, I should have played Lotus Petal first to play around Days, then cast Thoughtseize. Surveil's effect sends it to the graveyard. I'm digging for Doomsday. I stacked the top as Fetchland Lotus Petal. That earlier mistake with Thoughtseize turned out to be fatal after all. Before sideboarding, I'd like to review the list we used. First, the conclusion. I will explain it step by step. Here are the key cards from UB Tempo that impact Doomsday. First are the counterspells, Force of Will, Daze, Force of Negation, and Consign to Memory, along with Thoughtseize. To fight against these, I'll bring in Flusterstorm and Cabal Therapy. Here's an additional note on Cabal Therapy. After resolving Doomsday and building the pile, there are usually only a few specific cards you really need to play around. For example, Consign to Memory, or in other decks, Kozilek's Command or Endurance. Since it can deal with multiple copies of a card at once, having even a single copy in the deck can sometimes be very useful. I'll take out Lion's Eye Diamond in exchange. That's because I find myself in fewer situations where I empty my hand and go straight for the combo after building the pile. I'll also take out Nihil Spellbomb. Next is Tamio, Inquisitive Student. Because of sideboard constraints, the opponent can't completely cut their removal. I also get the sense that they tend to keep some removal in, anticipating a creature-based plan from the Doomsday side. For that reason, I won't be bringing in creatures like Barrogoyf or Sheoldred the Apocalypse. However, I'll still bring in Tamio, Inquisitive Student. I'm including it because the payoff is huge when it high rolls, it provides value in long games, and by leveraging draw spells, it can also help dodge opposing removal. In exchange, I'll cut down on the number of Personal Tutor. Since Personal Tutor is generally weak against blue decks, I'm cutting down on its numbers. But I find that going into a long game against UB Tempo usually puts me at a disadvantage. Therefore, while it doesn't feel particularly strong, I'll keep 2 copies in the deck by process of elimination and aim for a faster game plan. Next is Orcish Bowmasters. Once it hits the battlefield, Street Wraith stops functioning as a cycler once it's in play, so I'll take all of them out. In their place, I'll bring in Vision Charm. This card can serve as a pile opener even if multiple Orcish Bowmasters are on the battlefield, by using the Mill 4 cards mode. It can also phase out a Disruptor Flute, which you occasionally run into. Lastly, against Tamio, Inquisitive Student and Orcish Bowmasters. As a small hedge, I'll include a single copy of Long Goodbye. I'll keep this hand, it has enough lands, I can hold up a counter, and even if the opponent fires off a Thoughtseize on turn 1, I should still be able to play the game. I'm digging for Mana Acceleration. Surveil's effect sends it to the graveyard. I'm digging for Mana Acceleration. I stacked the top as Doomsday. If I don't combo off next turn, I'm going to lose. I've only got one counter, so it feels shaky, but if there's ever a window, this is it. I'm going all in. From here. I'll counter it with force of will. If my opponent hits me with Thoughtseize, I lose, but with Tamiyo already on their board, I'll lose if I wait around anyway. I also know at this point that my opponent doesn't have force of will in hand. They most likely have either Consigned to Memory or Orcish Bowmasters in hand. To cover the possibility of them holding multiple Consigned to Memory, I'll include Cabal Therapy in the pile. Since my opponent likely still has removal in hand, I'll fill the remaining slots with pile openers so I can clear out the pile immediately. Fortunately, I have a fetch land in hand, so by putting a dual land into the pile, I can save one pile opener. I built the pile in the following order: dual land, Cabal Therapy, Edge of Autumn, Ponder. They retrieved Days with Tamiyo, so this looks like the Orcish Bowmasters line. I'll use a pile opener to start drawing through the pile. I'll win the game with Thassa's Oracle. I'll keep this hand, it has lands and can answer an early Orcish Bowmasters. I'll scout ahead with discard. I'll counter it with force of will. Since Orcish Bowmasters has already landed, it feels like the game now comes down to whether I can flip into Doomsday quickly. I'll counter it with Flusterstorm. At this point, even an additional clock would mean losing, so I countered Brainstorm. I'm digging for Doomsday. By leaving Personal Tutor on top, I can see a line where I lose, and by putting it into the graveyard, I can also see a line where I lose. This time, I'll leave it on top of the library. I'll search for Doomsday. I'm going all in. From here. At this point, I lose to just about anything they might have, so I'll build a pile that only plays around Days and lets me go off immediately. Since I won't be using them anyway, I think the 4th and 5th cards in the pile can be anything. I'll go for Edge of Autumn, Thassa's Oracle, and hope for the best. I built the pile in the following order: Thassa's Oracle, Cavern of Souls, Thassa's Oracle, Edge of Autumn. I'll use a pile opener to start drawing through the pile. I'll cast Thassa's Oracle and pray they don't have anything. Lastly, I have an announcement. I'm posting the concepts behind the images used in my videos, as well as small flavor-inspired stories, in the YouTube community section. If you're interested, be sure to check it out. Thank you for watching up to this point. I apologize for the many play mistakes. I hope to improve at MTG together with everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel and giving it a thumbs up. See you next time. This is Antya.